And then I realized another part of my healing was my my spiritual side, which I had neglected for many, many years. And, you know, there is a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I ran into a friend who told me about another friend who was having meditations in her home. And lo and behold, Lisa was the person that was teaching the meditation class. And I just realized this is the part of healing that I needed, and I have really delved into my spirituality on healing that level. And it's healing your etheric body also, because it's your spiritual body gets sick, and then you, over time, manifest it into the physical. So I've been working on healing that body also. But in doing that, I've applied conventional doctors along with alternative doctors. I go to a place up in New York State that does alternative therapies. I go for a very high dose vitamin C drip and B17. And I was going every week, and now I go every 3 weeks. But it's what that does is kill cancer cells in the body. So I've been doing that. I also go to a naturopathic doctor who does muscle testing on you to see what is weak in your body and how to heal it, and take lots of supplements, which have greatly helped me. So it's combining both of, you know, conventional medicine and alternative medicine to have complete healing. I never wanted to be described as being a victim of cancer. I don't like that terminology. I also don't like being a survivor of cancer. I have taken having cancer as truly being a blessing in my life. What it has done for me on every level of my being, I could have never gained the learning, the knowledge, delving deep within myself if I had not gone through the cancer experience. And in doing that, I was journal writing, and I'm writing a book on my whole experience of what I've gone through. And I really do find it a huge blessing. I don't want to say I'm glad I went through it, but the people that I've met, the knowledge I've gained, the person I am today is at a much better place than I was before cancer. What else can I say? I also have to just say with your family, I have 3 children. It was very hard on them when they went through this, because it's not just my journey, it's also their journey, seeing their mother go through this. And you know, they let me have my moments where I couldn't be there for them. I had to just, you know, I went totally deep within myself, and they were okay with it. And I eventually, you know, they saw me come around. They saw the healing. They saw what I've done. And, you know, they even tell me today that I am much better who I am today than I was before cancer. But it was going into that black abyss of the unknown, and just having that one thread of faith to hold on to during this whole journey. So all I can say, if any of you ever face an illness, there's a reason why it happens. Look at what the message is. Look at why it's happening. Try to find and figure out why you're going through what you're going through. And I think if you do that, you'll come out a much better person and get a lot of information.
One thing that I've noticed with all of us who are going through the awakening, we all go through physical ailments before we get to that part where we realize that this is a spiritual thing that we're going through. I was also bedridden for 4 years. I had back surgery, and fell 3 times after the surgery and landed on my back while the staples were still in. I went from leading a very active life to a life of being in bed and crying all the time, reliving my childhood, how sensitive I was, how it felt when I saw favoritism. I relived it from 2 years old, and I went even into the future of seeing myself in a coffin and just crying and allowing all of this anger and this pain to come out. And after about 3 years, the ability started to open up again. So if you're holding on to anything, let it go. Realize you're living now. One thing I like to tell people when they come see me, God isn't in the past, and God isn't in the future. God is in the here and in the now. Here, Isabel.
It's, I feel like, just from listening to everybody. So, okay, so in thinking about everything that everybody's been saying, and what I am going to talk about is the physical healing. And the realizations and the knowledges that I've come to. And I come to it from as much of a spiritual pathway as a scientific pathway. And been involved in healings and understanding healings for about 25 years. But lucky enough, or being led, to have a center. And at the center, we had a doctor. He's still an associate, but for 4 years I got to work side by side with this doctor and see people that would come in. He's an MD, he was an OBGYN that went on to become a master in Chinese medicine. And over the years, everybody that came in with the most chronic conditions, because these were people that had exhausted all the traditional routes, so we had fibromyalgia and MS and depressions and GI tract issues and headaches, every condition. He was also a member of Holistic Pediatrics, so we had many children that would come in. And every one of these physical aspects was very clearly an identified way of living, a way of how they handle stress, how they handle their emotions, their past. They were all stacked into this composite of who the person was. And in understanding then, how do you undo it and how do you regain health? Now, all of these people had, in speaking with me, had exhausted as much positive thinking as you can believe. They had affirmations from morning till night. They did all the right things. They worked really hard to move past this, but they still were seeming to go deeper and deeper and deeper into these conditions. So I started to look at it and try to understand when people would go to the healers would seem to be able to lift off some of these aspects of their pain and stress, just remove it from them so that they didn't have to. I always laugh at the commercial, just do it. You know, if it could just be that easy, then everybody would. But it's never that easy. It always seems to be surrounded with obstacle after obstacle. So what I did is I started to look at ways that people could, I wrote it down here, understand the spiritual potential of the physical body. And that's a little bit different because I noticed over the years that people, when they talk about betterment, that they oftentimes seem to not talk about the physical body, except as far as how the emotions impact it, but not what can the physical body do on its own to move a person past their issues and their obstacles.